Hey guys, I am going to do a video about my son Isaac and my pregnancy with him and his condition anencephaly. So when I was 16 weeks pregnant, I had my first ultrasound. It was the very first one I had with that pregnancy, and we were so excited to possibly find out the sex of our baby because I've heard that you can find out as early as 16 weeks sometimes. Depends how good your technician is. And so I spent 2 hours cutting up pink and blue confetti that I was going to put inside balloons so that when we revealed the gender, we would just pop the balloon and the colors would go everywhere. So I got to my appointment, and then Nick arrived about 5 minutes after me. And when we got into the room, our technician was kind of new. And so we were just looking at everything. Everything seemed fine. And I remember thinking that our baby looked like an alien, and I just thought about it in my head. I just said it to myself, and I laughed it off because, you know, when they look straight on at their face, they kind of look like a skeleton, kind of, or whatever, however you want to put it. And then the ultrasound tech left the room, and she said that she was going to go talk to her boss. So the other technician came in, and she looked at a few more things quickly, and then she left the room. And then about 5 minutes later, me and Nick were thinking, okay, something must be wrong because they're not back yet. So this man came in, and he explained to us that our baby was not compatible with life, and that his skull and his brain didn't fully form, and it was something that is called anencephaly. And so we were moved to a different room where a nurse would come in and talk to us. So once we got into that room, I just started bawling my eyes out. So the nurse gave us two options. We can either induce labor and give birth to our baby early, or we could continue with the pregnancy, try to see how far we get, try to continue until full term. So when we left the office, Nick drove home. We were going to my parents' house, and I just cried the whole way there. I'm gonna have to add text into the video because it's really hard for me. It's really hard for me to talk about it without crying. So I think I'm just gonna put all the writing in and with my pictures and some music.
There were photographs I wanted to take, things I wanted to show you, sing sweet lullabies, wipe your teary eyes. Who could love you like this? People say that I am brave, but I'm not. Truth is, I'm barely hanging on. But there's a greater story written long before me, because he loves you like this. I will carry you while your heart beats here, long beyond the empty cradle, through the coming years. says, I've shown her photographs of time beginning, walked her through the parted seas, angel lullabies, no more teary eyes. Who could love her like this?
My labor and delivery was pretty rough. I got a epidural at 4 centimeters. So once I got to 10 centimeters, we started pushing, and I was pushing for 3 hours. The nurses and the doctor left me with the umbilical cord out for half an hour, which I did not like, because they wanted to wait for me to push again, so it wasn't so much stress on my uterus. We weren't monitoring Isaac's heart rate, but I think he passed away during that time where his umbilical cord was left out and he was just in the birth canal for too long. When Isaac finally came out, he was put on my chest, and at this time we still thought he was a girl because that's what I was told from 2 ultrasounds. So I held him for a bit, and then they took him away because I was bleeding really bad. I had a 2nd-degree tear, and my uterus was bleeding. They had to rip out my placenta, and when they did that, it caused my old C-section scar to rip open, so my uterus was ripped open, and they had to quickly sew me up. The bleeding wouldn't stop. I lost a lot of blood. All I remember is at first I could feel the stitching, and then the doctor gave me more medication, and there was lots of nurses and lots of doctors, and I closed my eyes because I didn't want to see anything, and I kept getting more needles. They were checking my blood pressure, just a whole bunch of stuff. I was there for a while, and I was too weak at one point to even open my eyes. I couldn't breathe, so they had to give me one of those breathing masks. I just remember them poking me with lots of needles. I must have had like 30 different needles. There was a few times where my hearing completely stopped. I couldn't hear anything, and you know when you can't hear anything but you still hear that buzzing sound in your ears? Well, I didn't even hear that. It was absolutely quiet. I couldn't hear a thing, and my vision would go blurry. It's like if you were going into the light, but it wasn't, it kind of got bright but foggy, and my chest would get really tight, and it would feel like something was sitting on me, and I couldn't breathe, and it was just like squeezing in. I lost so much blood. So at this point they're still sewing me up in the delivery room, and I lost so much blood that I almost died. They weren't sure if they could even save my uterus because it kept bleeding. I needed a blood transfusion, and the human body has, I think they said 4 bags of blood, so whatever that is, and I had 3 bags of blood put into me. I was rushed down to surgery where they ended up fixing my uterus, and they got all the bleeding stopped, and I'm so happy that they were able to fix it because I want more kids. Because of all the medication I was getting, I kept throwing up too. At one point, I almost choked on my vomit because nobody got me a bowl and I couldn't turn my head to spit it out. So eventually, after almost choking to death, they used a tube to suck it out of my mouth.